follow Dr. Mofokeng, you would know that she has been very vocal about what is happening in the Middle East, and in particular holds really nothing back when it comes to her views around the actions of the Prime Minister, the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, and the killing that has taken place of so many civilians, particularly, of course, mostly affecting those in Palestine. And so, in one of her responses to that, it seems that there was a complaint laid with the HPCSA, and they have now found her guilty of misconduct. So, for the second hour of the show, we'll be speaking to Dr. T, as she's very popularly known, just to get her own perspective of this. After that, we'll be joined by the Member of Parliament for the EFF, Veronica Mente. They've issued a statement in relation to this matter. And then we'll also be joined by Dr. Hosile Tlape, who's the former head of the HPCSA and a Member of Parliament for Action SA. We'll be hoping to draw on some of his insights and trying to understand what are the matters that the HPCSA really gets involved with, and to what extent can misconduct really outside of the workplace apply to the day-to-day functions of a health practitioner like Dr. Darling. So that's the conversation that we'll have in the second hour. We did put a request through to the HPCSA as well, just so that they can come and explain their own process and how it is that they came to this particular conclusion. They, however, have said that they are not available for the interview. They have declined that particular request, but nonetheless, we will continue without them. So that's what you can expect on the third hour of the show. And then coming up in the final hour of the show, 11 o'clock, it's the Friday wind down. We're going to be putting our feet up, and we need it, right? Oh my gosh, we absolutely need it. So today we'll be in conversation with the lead vocalist. And trust me, it's a throwback. It's a throwback of mass proportions. This particular group has been part of the South African landscape, as I'm looking at how long they've been they've been together for. It's many years before my birth as well. I'm like, yo, they're older than I am. They've seen things that even I haven't seen. We're going to be looking at the life and times of Stimela, and in particular, we'll be in conversation with the lead vocalist of Stimela, and that is Sam Ndlovu. We'll be looking at just the body of work that they've been able to put together, and just the group, right? The things that they've been able to achieve over the years. And we know that not all of them, of course, are still with us, but certainly, especially if we think of the likes of the legendary guitarist and vocalist Ray Phiri, it is still going strong. So I'm looking forward to that throwback. I mean, to that wind down. I think there'll be a lot of classics that will play within the hour, and hopefully it'll also be a beautiful journey down memory lane. So Stimela is going to be joining us for the Friday wind down. All right, then, on that note, we're getting ready to take your calls, your national roundtable. It is your open line. You've been waiting and wanting the opportunity, at least on this particular platform. We'll be taking your calls on 086 000 2032. That's the number to dial, 086 000 2032. On the WhatsApp voice note line, 0614 104 107. And on X, it's at SFM Radio. The hashtag there, SFM Talking Point. So yes, no commissions for today, no ad hoc inquiry for today. All of that work is going to resume in the coming week.
If you think you cannot afford a lawyer, think again. Clientele Legal has made professional legal services affordable. You receive up to 745,000 Rand worth of legal services per year. Our range of plans include cover for you, your spouse, children, and extended family. Plans include cover for civil, criminal, and labor-related matters. Whether it's protection orders, gender-based violence, uncontested divorce, or poor service, your Clientele Legal lawyer will be there to assist you. Our services are convenient. Simply pick up the phone and call your lawyer or send us an email and we'll get back to you. All plans include a bail benefit of up to 5,000 Rand and we'll go to the police station and pay it for you. Plus, Clientele Legal offers you 24-hour telephonic legal advice. SMS SAFM to 32195. That's SAFM to 32195. Clientele General is an authorized FSP and licensed non-life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
Gordon Ramsay is back, and your favorite kitchen disasters are still somehow in business. New season, same confused chefs, terrifying walk-ins, and enough grease to fry your Wi-Fi. Watch as Gordon tries to fix the unfixable with nothing but sheer rage, British sarcasm, and an iron stomach. Kitchen Nightmares Season 8, Wednesdays at 6 p.m. on S3. Come for the food, stay for the emotional damage.
This October month, SFM shines a light on mental health awareness. This month, we bring you conversations that break the stigma, encourage care, and provide strategies to protect your mental well-being. Because it's okay not to be okay, and together, we can build a healthier tomorrow. SAFM, leading the conversations that move us.
SAFM 104 to 107, nationwide. SAFM has signed a code of conduct that is enforced by the Broadcasting Complaints Commission of South Africa. Under the code, we are committed to giving news that is accurate, comment that is fair, and programming that is not harmful, does not amount to hate speech, or contain violence or explicit sex. If you think we are not living up to that code, then you can inform the Broadcasting Complaints Commission of South Africa. Direct any complaints in writing to the Broadcasting Complaints Commission of South Africa. PO Box 142365. Craig Hall 2024. Fax to 011-326-3198 or an email to bccsa@nabsa.co.za. For more information, please visit www.bccsa.co.za.
This October month, SFM focuses on cybersecurity awareness. As we live more of our lives online, staying safe in the digital world has never been more important. From spotting cyber threats to protecting your personal data, SAFM brings you the conversations that empower you to stay secure. SAFM, leading the conversations that move us. This October month, SFM shines a light on mental health awareness. This month, we bring you conversations that break the stigma, encourage care, and provide strategies to protect your mental well-being. Because it's okay not to be okay, and together, we can build a healthier tomorrow. SAFM, leading the conversations that move us. This October month, SFM joins the world in breast cancer awareness. We bring you conversations that highlight the importance of early detection, survivor stories that inspire hope, and expert advice that could save lives. Together, let's spread awareness and support the fight against breast cancer. SAFM, leading the conversations that move us.
With the ever-changing financial landscape, it can be difficult to make sense of all the moves at times. Join me, Jimmy Moyaha, on the SAFM Market Update with MoneyWeb, Mondays to Thursdays, 6 to 7 p.m, as we break down the key market trends, top financial stories, and smart investment insights, all in one place. It's everything you need to stay financially informed and ahead of the curve.
The National Pulse, weekdays, 3 to 6 p.m.
Paul Biya has secured his 8th term in office. He's the world's oldest president. He's been declared the winner of the Cameroon presidential election.
I have told you, and I continue to tell you, this is a guy in Cameroon who has ruled it 93 years. He doesn't speak. He can't speak. He is completely out of his mind. He doesn't know where he is. All the leaders in Cameroon, the president of the Senate is 93. The president of the parliament is 89. Another one is 82. Another one is 91. Oh, the army general, the police commander is 93. Oh, look, I am not against age.
Dr. David Matsanga, the International Relations and Conflict Resolution.
Ashraf Garda on SAF. Call us on 086 000 2032.
Hi, good morning, Kitty. Good morning to the listeners over there at SFM. I would like to bring on a point, Kitty. We should really have these Pan Africanists coming up to the show or speak to them about what's happening there in Sudan, Kitty. It's sad, it's very sad. The videos you see on the television and on social media, Kitty, and it's happening in Africa, Kitty. It's happening in Africa. Why is it not flooded over the news, over the social medias? It's only TikTok that's bringing up these videos that is happening there, man. Look what happening to their children, man. I just saw this morning a video about a mother who's traumatized with her 5 or 4 children sitting there, kidney. It's not good, man. The UAE must be punished. We must ban them, not buying for them from these people, man. Thanks, Kitty.
Hi, Kathy. I heard that you will be with a member of Stimela. Wow, I loved that group, especially when Brare was still alive. Those times move, eh? And there's one song that I like of Stimela. It goes like this: Each time to Wasiko, Avaras, me loving you loving me. Each time's another, and another. It's a second of love. Tavares. Oh, you took me years back, Katie. Thank you very much, my sister.
Yeah, so if you're looking forward to Stimela, more of those sounds coming up in the final hour of the show. We're still going to be taking your calls on 086 2032 is the number to dial. I've been told that I read those numbers out way too quickly, so I must try and slow down. 086, the studio line, 086 2032. That's 086 2032. And for the WhatsApp voice note line, 0614 104 107. That's 0614 104 107.
Good morning, Katie. I'm Tagata in Lucky Location. First of all, I would like to thank you for taking us to Madlanga and the Ad hoc Commission in Parliament. We're happy for that because we cannot hear those sittings without you. Coming to my point, The Western Cape government is calling for the devolution of the Western Cape Police. I so wish that national government can take it serious, because before they were calling for the intervention of soldiers in our street so that people can be safe in the Western Cape. I so wish the other provinces can do the same thing just for the sake of the people who are vulnerable. Thanks.
Morning, team. This is I was so moved by Witness C yesterday. I mean, he's an entry level policeman whose career has been brought to a halt. He's got no way of improving his standing when he is under protection all the time, and his movements are sort of curtailed. The Witnesses A, B, and C. My heart goes out to you, and I think Africa owes this to you. And I wish we could do something for them. Thank you.
Morning, Kathy. As you were introducing your guests for the Friday Wonder today, before you could even say the group's name, I already said female. So I'm so excited. Like you, the group started before, way before I was born, but my father is still is a huge fan of Stimela. So that's how I got to know them. That's how I got to love their music as well. So I can't wait. Sipati International.
All right, yes, but it promises to be a really, really great hour. Thanks. Thanks for those voice notes. And I take the reflections of one of our listeners on Witness C, right? In the sense that there's a great deal of self exposure that many individuals are having to put themselves through in coming forward with whatever information that they have, right? Yes, all of this information right now is still allegations. They have to be tested and proven. But the point is, what we have learned in our society is that the minute you start speaking out and speaking to power, then it's almost as if you are deliberately putting a target on your back. And one hopes that that's a culture that we can change with time, that beyond this moment that we are in, we can really move to a place where we know that speaking truth and holding people accountable should not feel like a choice about whether you want to live or not. And unfortunately, that is very much what it has become. And it's across the board. It's for officers who are in the service. It's for journalists, right? The number of journalists that are coming under threat just because they have exposed, just because they have written, and in particular, investigative journalists. So if we're talking about stories like this, think about somebody like Jeff Wicks and the kind of personal threat that he has had to deal with since he started reporting on the Babita Deokaran matter. Because many of these things that we're talking about today, he long exposed and he long uncovered in his investigations. And that's part of why we need a functional SAPS so that it's not the criminals, it's not the mafias that are seemingly running this country. Let me go to Parktown North. Says Voiso, good morning.
Good morning, Kathy. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
I want to refer to the Amapanyaza. You know, I've got two issues, which is Amapanyaza and the influx of the guns.
Did you see that they're being dissolved? Says Voiso.
Yes, I saw, but what I'm talking us having that we must also be considerate that whenever I visit Eloxin, you know, I was born Eloxin. I'm done as it well, and you hear grandmothers and mothers saying, at least we can buy groceries. At least we don't have to knock at people's houses. That aspect should not be ignored. That at least there was stability in families and there was food on the table. I understand, you know, the whole hula baloo or the whole war about what or how Panyaza did it. But for me, I was happy to find Abokoko and Abomama happy about their children getting maintained, getting treasury. So I'm content about that. If they can actually, like Premier has said, that they might go for a training and whatever. Because I'm looking at that poverty in Florida. I don't know if how long have you been to in this township, where you find that there's no one working in the house, and that came as a blessing. When you get into Soweto, you don't have to take out the 10 rand anymore, because Makulu will tell you that at least there's food in the house. So that's we mustn't forget that as comfortable as we are, and we now stand on the opposite ground as if Panyaza killed somebody. Or what I'm thinking is that he was trying to elevate poverty. He was trying to help where he can.
Yeah.
Never mind your modus operandi. But the fact is that the warehouses that were now smiling after a long time. That
Fair
must
enough.
not be.
Fair enough for you, Swan. Fair enough. I think we'll leave it there. We're going to take the latest news headlines and then we'll continue with the open line shortly.
Good morning, I'm Anne Musa. In the headlines, the National Taxi Alliance has criticized law enforcement agencies for allegedly failing to root out the long ongoing taxi warfare between industry associations. Taxi bosses in Gauteng are living in fear after a surge in murders. The City of Johannesburg and the Socio-Economic Rights Institute are set to face off at the Johannesburg High Court this morning over the Metro's removal of informal traders in certain parts of the city. And the KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi has broken his silence on the perjury charges laid against him by the National Coloured Congress MP Fidel Adams. I'll have details on these and other stories at 10.
SAFM 104 to 107 nationwide.
Tell me what it is, Mr. Matala, that you do every day when you go to work.
Well, we have a monthly program that guides what we do on a daily basis.
I'd like to have a little bit more meat on that, please. Like what?
Well, it depends on what I'm supposed to do on a Friday.
You saw nothing, you heard nothing, you did nothing, and you know nothing.
I thought I responded to the questions that I have been asked. I didn't say I saw nothing. I said nothing.
The National Pulse, weekdays 3 to 6 p.m.
Paul Biya has secured his 8th term in office. He's the world's oldest president. He's been declared the winner of the Cameroon presidential election.
I have told you and I continue to tell you, this is a guy in Cameroon who has ruled it 93 years. He doesn't speak. He can't speak. He is completely out of his mind. He doesn't know where he is. All the leaders in Cameroon, the president of the Senate is 93. The president of the parliament is 89. Another one is 82. Another one is 91. Oh, the army general, the police commander is 93. Oh, look, I am not against age.
Dr. David Matsanga, the International Relations and Conflict Resolution.
Ashraf Gada on SAF. Call us on 086 000 2032.
All right, we continue the conversation on the talking point. It is your national roundtable. So just a note to our listeners, I know it's taking a bit of time to come back to you this morning, but that's because our phone lines all seem to be down. So yes, we are receiving your calls, but for whatever technical issue we are unable to put them up on air. So that means that the producers are calling each of you back via WhatsApp. So please, when you see the call back via WhatsApp, answer the phone. Tando, you're in the Eastern Cape. Good morning.
Ah, it happened to me.
I'm
I
sorry,
answered the call.
Tando. I know. You see, it's all of these commissions. You see, we must tell them that today is not their day. They must leave the phone lines alone.
Yeah, I wish I could call every day because I
I
mean
know.
there's some stuff that just but there are two people I love. It's Uncle JJ and who's that guy in Rosebank?
Bhutan and
Oh,
Rosebank.
that man, I love him. You must have him on air, you know. I
Yeah,
remember
the problem is that it's not good for his blood pressure. We don't want, because every time you can hear that, one of these days we're gonna need to call a doctor while he's talking.
I remember one time Tim would invited what's that guy guys were very ardent followers. He had them actually live there in Auckland Park, which was just very lovely to watch. But
Tando,
anyway, what I want to talk.
that is such a great idea. We're going to plagiarize. We're going to plagiarize from that broadcast veteran and think about doing something like that before the year is
Yeah,
up.
why not? At
Yeah.
least you could have done and thing there. I mean, that would be just amazing.
I think we can have, yeah.
And Seek, it was Seek, you know Seek.
Yes, Sig in
Seek,
Randburg. Yes, in
Seek
Randburg.
was there in the studio, and I can't remember who else was there, but who calls all the time. And maybe the two mics too.
I was going to say we can connect Mike in Cape Town from the Cape Town studio. Mike in Middleburg will have to take a drive down, right? It's such a great idea, Tando. We're going to do it. We're going to do it.
For to Pretoria is no bonus time, I'm sure, from mine. But anyway, what I want to talk about is, can we take the government to court? Can we litigate the president? I mean, how do you put people in positions that they earn so much money and they're doing nothing? I mean, this thing of these deputy, what you might call
ministers.
If when the premier is not there, yeah, then he approaches other people. I mean, can we take? I mean, this is no laughing matter because we're no longer a London republic. What a joke! I mean, this is our money. This is not their money. This is not ANC's money, Ramaphosa's money, or government. This is our money. This is our children's money. And these people, I mean, this guy, he could hardly say what he does. And can you imagine all these deputy people? What are they doing? I mean, because they keep on saying South Africa is the most unequal country in the world, and they say we're going to save the poor of the poorest. It's like, okay, you the poor, stay there, don't move. And then the inequality, we just going to lament about it, and it's a constant refrain. I mean, what are these people? I mean, we gotta do something because
Yeah, go ahead, Tando.
We're no longer taking up arms, or perhaps it's because this whole democracy was negotiated. Maybe it was not fully fledged, or that actually, made it a distinct line. Because as far as I'm concerned, the ANC has been managing the line for the apartheid beneficiaries and benefactors.
Sure.
They are just destroying everything. They just bloody Mantingalanes. There's nothing that they think building malls is actually development. Huh? There's nothing that is of significance. I mean, the Eastern Cape is the most pressing place that could ever be. But then again, all of South Africa, not unless you take time off, go to the winelands and then, try to escape from reality. But then again, I mean, really, it is so, Cathy, I don't know.
Yeah. And
I
and and, and,
despair. I despair.
and you know, Tando, for me, the one of the things that stands out about it is the fact that he's been deputy minister since 2019. So it's not like
I
he
mean,
just came in last year. So even if there's a
any
change of responsibility, it's not that drastic, right? It's still the same position.
2 million per annum. Can you imagine? For
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
For showing up in suit and having bodyguards and all that. You know, when I listen to Mwele Timbek, one of the soberest minds in this country, he says in China, I mean, look at China, what it does. I mean, infrastructure, the whole things the things they do, I mean, it's mind-boggling. Now, I mean, it's another level.
Okay.
He says there you will find a minister or president or CEO, he earns about not this astronomical amount of money these people earn here in South Africa, but in China it shows what they do, but they earn far less than what these people earn. Millions they earn. And then this inequality, they actually love about it. They actually love it because they desperate. And they even steal. They are in that bracket, but they still are stealing.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay, Tando. Tando.
capital punishment has to be made law.
Tando, let's give others a chance. You've made the point, and I understand your frustration completely. I think many South Africans feel that way. Patrick, you're in Durban. Good morning.
How are you, Katie?
Yes, Patrick.
Yeah, this is a very controversial subject that I'm going to touch here. And I think I do know the solution that needs to be put in this in the could be, so that they could. One, I think we need to we need the government to own all the tax ranking, like all the tax rank belongs to the government, and that shouldn't be a request. It should be done by court.
Patrick,
Hello?
I want you to listen to what you are saying, né?
Yeah.
And then I want you to think about how realistic, how practical a solution it
I'm
is.
going to explain.
Yeah, go ahead.
Slowly. I'm saying the government should say all the tax ranks. There is no one when you get access to the rank anymore. Each and every tax rank will belong to the government. What the taxi owners will have, they will have the license to operate taxi. Because what is happening now is that everybody is waiting for the to own a taxi rank. That's where the greed comes from in politics. Okay, the person is a equivalent of taxi rank, okay, still the that but you know what? Now I'm owning this sector and all of them. But I know these people how hard headed they are. So he must put people like Mr. General Mukana, people who are well trained. And those people they must be given an order to shoot to kill any owner disagree. Because
All right, Patrick, not sure what has happened there, but we've lost the line to Patrick. His suggestion, I guess, coming out of the frustration of the state of public transport and where things are today. Ronald, you're in Midrand. Good morning. All right, it looks like we've lost Ronald on the line. Sorry about that, Ronald. Pax, you're in Cape Town. Good morning.
Good morning, Cathy. Trust me well.
Yes, go for it.
Yes, Cathy, I'm just going to highlight on top of look, all of these witnesses that are standing of the testimonies that give against the all of them. I, I think they should be uh, give what is same I would say some of them who even though on the ground who that overwhelmed uh, on saying uh, there is there are a lot of uh, some of these guys don't know behind profession. Also, high time that as a government in this not be one way, but compromise right and a committee that who is as we can count the
Where's oh, okay. Pugs, are you still on the line? Okay, it looks like we've lost Pugs on the line. Pugs, I apologize for that. But I agree with you on the witness training. One would think, though, it comes part and parcel with the job, because many of these officers, of course, know that they're likely to give evidence in some of these matters, especially when they're enrolled before the court of law. So the sense of being overwhelmed, I wonder if it's coming out of the fact that they're aware of just how much of the national interest is in this matter, and that whatever they say is being watched by millions and millions of South Africans. So I wonder if that's making a difference to how people and witnesses are showing up when giving their evidence. Pugs, that's just something maybe to think about. But I do agree with you. I think that there have been examples of witnesses that just are very overwhelmed, and you can tell that they're incredibly overwhelmed. And I don't necessarily know that that's always an indication of people being dishonest, outside of it just perhaps being swallowed by the stage, as it were. Ronald in Midrand, you're back. Good morning. All right. s- I think that, yeah, it's a little bit of it's not musical chairs, but yeah, we're gonna have to go with things as they are. Ronald, good morning.
Good morning, Sir Kate. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Apologies for that, Ronald.
Yes. You know, there was a time when you wanted one of the judge to talk about the death penalty. When they spoke about how it want to do and what. And I said, the only reason they want the death penalty is because all ANC ministers will be the first one to be killed. It has nothing to do with our human rights. Our human rights are not respected. Look at how the men in which they collaborate with the criminals. The men in which they even spy on the police doing their job against the criminals. You know, the people who are paying salaries as ministers, they have bodyguards, they have VIP cards, they have you still eat with the criminals. Here, Pastor Matala trust ownership that has been getting paid for the whole year doing nothing. Take it home. And we don't see anything wrong with the ANC. We have been taken for granted by the ANC. We have been taken for granted by the ANC, and it's shocking. They kill us, they don't deliver service, they are just out and out of order. I think as South Africans were not dealing with it.
Ronald, when you look at the impact of the Zondo Commission, right? Because there's no doubt that the revelations made in front of the Zondo Commission steered and changed the trajectory and course of this country. And there are many who actually will point to the fact that it is the singular biggest event that led and contributed to the decline of votes for the ANC in 2029. Do you think that these commissions, the ad hoc committees inquiry and this Matlanga commission, are going to have a similar effect for the ANC?
No, these two commissions have picked up the ANC. It's good. Anyone who votes for the ANC must be taken and examined normally in the head. It's not about deliberation anymore. It's about doing the basics. It's a basic. Okay? Even if you don't arrest criminals, still tell them who's investigating them. How do you, and the ministers are not giving speeches when the policeman has died. You go, this one is criminal. I don't put, but you are the one who told the criminal who's investigating you. That's so odd. These Congress are evil. They are
Sure.
evil. They have no heart.
Okay. Ronald, thanks for that contribution. Mkaya, you're out in Moroleng. Good morning to you.
Yes, morning. How are you, ma'am?
I'm good, thank you, Mkaya. Mkaya, actually,
Yeah.
let me do this. I've just seen that I've got a break coming up. So let me keep you on hold and then we'll take the break. We'll continue on the other side of this.
Join us Tuesday evening at 6 on Afternoon Express as we open up to your best life. The one and only Somizi Mhlongo goes back to school as part of his newest foray in the world of fashion. Musical maestro Lord Kez unpacks her story and how her newest song is sweeping the nation. And we unpack how every South African can turn their dream into a reality. That's Tuesday evening at 6 with repeats Sunday mornings at 8:30 only on S3.
Extraordinary is built on innovation and Vodacom Business is leading the way. They provide the cloud that scales with ambition, AI that drives smarter decisions, IoT that connects what truly matters, and secure connectivity that keeps everything moving. From small enterprises to public sector solutions, Vodacom Business is creating a future where every connection counts. Stronger businesses, thriving communities, a nation ready to lead. Visit www.vodacombusiness.co.za. Together, let's build the extraordinary. Vodacom Business further together.
Hashtag SAFM Talking Point.
All right, we continue with the conversation on the open line. Mkanya, let me come back to you.
Yes, morning, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I would like to talk what is happening in Tanzania. And, this situation is sad and the truly that okay, they are fight on this so any them, whatever that is. No, this would take what happened in Zimbabwe when they stole the election. When they stole the election, again, not that DDS, of course, pandemic, but again, there's started those of revolutionary to leader. They started congratulations those who had stolen the election. Now in Tanzania, all the opposition leaders that free charge said that having any for African Union game what happening. And here is where we are right now. So they started, I'm hearing that some soldiers who are also supporting what is happening. In the end, um, he the father or African Union is condemning the coup that so don't want proper legitimate government. So their institutions they cannot continue to wait when there's this happen. This is what I want this is to establish African Union. That's all. So it's not been this is my point.
Yeah, and there has to be that platform where leaders are able to call each other out, and it's about credibility and the credibility of processes, Mkanya. And I often find that this debate around, sovereignty and not wanting and respecting each country, every state is sovereign, they can do what they want within their borders, and that must, their lines that must be respected. Yeah, sure, but surely there must also be a sense of justice in how leaders on the continent pursue their political voice too, right? It can't just be for the sake of it. All right, so that was Mkanya out in Marule. And in case you've missed it, of course, there've been protests over the last couple of days in Tanzania. And this is just as the results of elections in that country were being announced. And President Samia Suluhu Hassan was clearly the main winner. I mean, in one of the regions, the southwest regions, she got nearly 95% of the vote. But this also happens in an election where the main opposition leader is in jail and another opposition leader was disqualified from the election. So all those that could have been her contenders have effectively had the environment skewed against them, unable to compete in a fair process, and seemingly paving way for her to win the election. And so the people are rising up. They're calling this election a sham. And as Mkhanya was saying, it comes as in other parts of the continent, leaders have already started saying congratulations. But clearly, some of those in Tanzania are saying no. They're saying no to what they believe has been a sham election. Samkelo, you're in Lipalale. Good morning.
Hello, Katie.
Yes, sir.
Good show, ma'am. Morning to you, your producer, and SF. Haven't spoken to you for like months now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
The time
I
is
was
up already.
I was wondering because I'm like, Lepalale. I haven't spoken to anyone in Lepalale in some time. But I was
Yeah.
thinking about Midupi that's out there. And
Yes.
thinking about
Anybody listening to the modern FM.
Okay.
You know, I'm been literally. Is Katie, I just want to request you Katie, and SF to one day, right? That you tell us the status of the that announced that in where where you know one has this alleged
The allegations, yes, the allegations that have been
yes.
made
We are
around
not hearing
procurement. Yeah.
anything. We are not hearing anything. And the second one, if a politician, I'm just listening to Madlanga testimonies as well as when a politician starts now with senior officers or officials in either the police service or the army, that means there was a coup somewhere somehow. It was this is very, very shocking. Yeah, general, yes, getting involved in the process. Again, I know I've said this, okay, why is our country. Let me start, ma'am. I know you don't have much time. We've only 1 hour today, and it worries me a lot.
Yeah. Samkelo, you have every right to be worried. Yes, a coup may not have taken place,
Yes.
but it is concerning the extent to which those within the security apparatus of the country are at each other's throats, but are also seemingly serving the interests of factions. But we've long been told about this. Zondo told us about this. Sandy Africa, in her report on the July protests, told us about this. So we're seeing it play out once again, but it's been years and years of warnings, reports after reports. In fact, Sidney Mufamadi also told us about this. How could I forget? Sidney Mufamadi told us about this too. He did. There are reports that are there. We can find them online. But the question is, nothing substantive is ever done. Remember, this was even part of the reason why there was a shakeup in how the State Security Agency and some of those associated departments, the state intelligence, how that was shaken up. Remember, there was a point when Zizi Kodwa was reporting directly to the president over these matters. So we've walked a journey as a country, and perhaps it's to keep reminding ourselves of where we've come from with these things too. But nothing substantive that yields results has gotten us to where we need to get to. Edward, you're in Durban. Good morning.
Yes, top of the morning to you, Cathy,
Yes,
to
sir.
you and your crew and all the listeners. Cathy, I just wanted to bring something up. I was speaking to Les and I was telling him. So I grew up with my grandmother. Uh, in the early 70s, she said to me, "My child, this is the time of white. You don't know a word of Afrikaans to teach you Afrikaans so that you find favor with once you know their language." Speak. And she taught me like your 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 owl, your tal, your begrip, all those things. I used to get totally even my own child I used to get like overnight. But this is been long. She said to me, my child, you, the African part of the thing, going to the country. But the problem is they're going to be feeling so bad. They're going to think that every finance, everything belongs to them, minerals, everything. And they're going to feel so bad, my child. But there's going to come a time when the very same that them in power is going to have enough that they are going to take them out of power. And then you'll see trouble in the land. It will be back to square one. Yeah, that's the word. And you can see where we're headed right now.
Yeah,
The two commission.
back to square one here, Edward. Back to square one. I wonder then what we say of these patterns and events and cycles. How do we break these cycles as a country? Collectively, how do we break these cycles? Because it's unsustainable. We cannot build the future of our dreams if this is what prevails. All right, it's just after 10. We'll take the latest news update.
In our top stories, IBID probes deaths of a police officer and partner, and death toll from Hurricane Melissa rises to 49. Good morning. The Independent Police Investigative Directorate has confirmed investigations into a case where a police officer allegedly shot and killed his girlfriend before turning the gun on himself in Monte Vista in Cape Town. The bodies were found on Tuesday after the woman failed to turn up for work. IPID spokesperson Paladi Shuping says the deceased officer was attached to the Belleville Crime Prevention Unit.
It is alleged that the neighbors had gunshots on Monday night, and the two bodies were discovered on Tuesday afternoon. The woman who was found on the bed was allegedly shot 6 times by the police officer, and the officer had one gunshot wound to the head. The case was reported to IPID for investigations.
The National Taxi Alliance has criticized law enforcement agencies for allegedly failing to root out the long ongoing taxi warfare between industry associations. Taxi bosses in Gauteng are living in fear after a surge in murders, including the killing of the Alexandra Randburg Midrand Sandton Taxi Association chairperson and his bodyguard yesterday. This follows the murder of the Gauteng NTA chairperson last month, despite several rival taxi associations across the country having signed peace agreements. Gauteng NTA spokesperson Theo Malele.
I don't think that the police are doing enough. That was the case. I mean, we also hear, even in the Mahanga Commission, how some of the police were involved in concealing the matters of the operators. How do you live in such a country where the right to start better? What does it mean? Must we now have armored clothing as we walk about like night? I really don't know what is that needs to happen.
The City of Johannesburg and the Socio-Economic Rights Institute are set to face off at the Johannesburg High Court this morning over the Metro's removal of informal traders in certain parts of the city. In recent months, the city implemented a program to remove traders operating without authorization as part of reclaiming back the city and invoking bylaws. However, the Socio-Economic Rights Institute believes the cleanup program violates the rights of the traders. Puseletso Mokwena reports.
The city argues that the mushrooming of informal traders has contributed to the untidiness of the CBD, saying that unauthorized informal trading had jeopardized safety, cleanliness, and access to emergency routes in Johannesburg CBD for the longest time.
KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi has broken his silence on the perjury charges laid against him by the National Coloured Congress MP, Fadil Adams. The charges stem from Mkhwanazi's testimony before the Madlanga Commission, where he accused Adams of using his position as MP to access classified information put before Parliament's Joint Standing Committee on Intelligence unlawfully. Adams is not a member of the committee. Mkhwanazi told the Commission Adams handled that information recklessly. Speaking at the launch of a festive season safety plan in Durban, Mkhwanazi said he's not afraid to be prosecuted.
We'll deal with that at the Aero Committee. If there's any case open at the police station, anyone has got the right to open a case. Police must investigate, and if there's a crime committed and the police feels that they must take that into the courts, and the courts, if they decide to prosecute, will prosecute. I was never afraid to be prosecuted. I'm not going to be afraid to be prosecuted now. So if Mr. Adams, who I spoke about in that commission, feels that he must then use the strategy to threaten or intimidate, it's okay. I'm not afraid of that. We already understand which side of the law he is. We'll find each other at the right place. Let it happen. He must bring it on.
And finally, the Jamaican government says Hurricane Melissa killed 49 people when it struck this week. Search and rescue efforts are continuing in the worst-hit areas, with some communities still isolated. The BBC's Will Grant has this report.
With the number of dead from Hurricane Melissa steadily rising, Jamaicans' resilience continues to be tested. Electricity remains out to most of the island, and as people try to salvage their damaged homes and belongings from the floodwaters and mud, many thousands are growing increasingly desperate for aid. There are parts of the country that have been without water for several days, and food is growing increasingly scarce. In more positive news, aid supplies are beginning to come in more rapidly, with the airport in the capital Kingston largely back to normal. Smaller regional airports, however, remain only partly operational, and some are located near to where the humanitarian assistance is most needed.
Recapping the top story, the Independent Police Investigative Directorate has confirmed investigations into a case where a police officer allegedly shot and killed his girlfriend before turning the gun on himself in Monte Vista in Cape Town. For SAFM News, I am Anne Musa.
FCA will only be happy with maximum points. However, PVP believe they will paint Augsburg in yellow and black. This is the Bundesliga, football as it's meant to be. Catch FC Augsburg and Borussia Dortmund on Friday, 31 October at 8:30 p.m. live on SABC Sport on DTT Channel 4 and everywhere for everyone, always on SABC Plus. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
The Clarets are looking for a win on home soil to rise from the bottom half.
Foster, he's going to win it! Oh, yes! Oh, what a finish! Lyle Foster! Surely he's won it!
On the other side, the Gunners of London are prepared to do everything in their power to protect their number one position.
Great shot comes in! Alice Eza! Eza against his former club with a fine finish. 1-0 to the Arsenal. Look at that.
This is the Premier League. Do not miss out on this exhilarating clash between Burnley FC and Arsenal FC. This Saturday, 1 November at 4:30 p.m. Live on SABC Plus and SABC 3. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport. For the love of the game.
SAFM 104 to 107 nationwide. The Talking Point with Cathy Mohlahlana. Weekdays, 9 a.m. till midday.
All right, it is 9 after 10 o'clock. Welcome to the second hour of the show. Coming up in this hour, we're going to be looking at this matter that has been before the Health Practitioners Association, Health Professionals Council, rather, of South Africa, and it's around the conduct of one of South Africa's doctors, that is Dr. Tlaleng Mofokeng, who also happens to be the UN's Special Rapporteur on the right to health. And she's been found guilty of misconduct for her criticism of the Israeli Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, over his actions in Gaza. So we're going to be looking at that matter coming up shortly. Before you do, some of your WhatsApp voice notes.
Good morning, my sister. I just wanted to say I hope
the people from Eastern Cape, KZ, and Limpopo, Mpumalanga. I hope there is a radio station maybe can try to make them understand. Those people who can't hear English, my sister, the ANC, because the ANC depend on those old person in Eastern Cape. Hmm. I was just saying, I hope those people they can hear the ad hoc committee and the commission with the language that they understand, so that they can hear the shenanigans that the ANC guys are doing. Thank you, my sister.
Good morning, Cathy and your team. What I heard now on the news about online gaming just reminded me of the story I heard about the day before. A friend of mine is addicted online. She's like a junk. She's like a junk. She's borrowing money from anywhere and everywhere. Last year, he said he had to pay about 15,000, paying people that she borrowed money so that she can gamble on online gaming. And now the debt has accumulated again this year. He's saying she's owing over 10,000 rand. Something needs to be done about this.
Good morning, Cathy. Anonymous here. I can hear people are complaining about ANC doing this, ANC doing that. For that, forgetting that we are the ones who are giving the ANC a chance to continue doing what is wrong. We see. So I think people out there must learn to blame themselves for what is happening right now. Because they are the ones who keep voting for the wrong people. They know what to do, they know what is right, but they keep doing the same thing each and every election that pass. Thank you very much, Kathy.
Morning, Cathy and listeners. The one caller, Tando, give that man a bells regarding the corruption in the ANC and the ministers and what they earn. It's crazy. But as for your next caller suggesting that you give the taxi control over to the government, that's not a good idea, I don't think. After the money will go missing, but that's just my thoughts. Thanks, Cathy.
Okay, come on, guys. Like I was still enjoying listening to the guy that was talking about the taxi rank being owned by the government. Because like all the reason which he put on the table, it was indeed valid reasons. 99.99% of incidents were funded as a fight among, like in the taxi industry. In the taxi industry, it's simply because of the control of the ranks or the control of the roads. So if government can able to own all these ranks, and then the taxi owners will just bring their taxi, and then that would be great. And then government come up with a system in terms of how it works. Who knows? Maybe in the future we can able to swap on taxis, not always pay cash. So like I really did love the guy's idea, so that he can come back and elaborate more on it.
The Talking Point with Cathy Mohlahlana. Weekdays, 9 a.m. till midday.
All right, so let's get then into our conversation this hour. On the line, we've got the UN Special Rapporteur on the Right to Health, Dr. Tlaleng Mofokeng. She was recently found guilty by the Health Professionals Council following her criticism on social media of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu over the actions in Gaza. And this was a complaint that was launched by the South African Zionist Federation. It has since welcomed the ruling. So, Dr. Mofokeng's posts were made in her personal capacity, and among the things that she has done consistently over a number of years is accusing Israel of committing genocide in Palestine, but also calling for global action, right, against what she perceives as apartheid like policies. And it's been ongoing criticism of the Israeli government and actions that relate to the war that is taking place in the Middle East. So she's joining us first a little bit later on. We'll hear from the EFF. We'll also hear from the former head of the HPCSA. And there's a statement that we've just been sent from the HPCSA itself on this matter. Dr. T, good morning to you, and thank you so much for making time to be part of this conversation.
Good morning, Cathy.
And we understand that you're in Washington currently, so I won't ask what time it is where you are. So thank you so much for making time for us and to be part of this conversation. And I must disclose that yes, this is an important story. But Dr. Daleng also happens to be somebody I call a friend. So hopefully you will be able to call me out if you feel that there's any bias on my part in having this conversation that has sparked, I think, what is an important debate around freedom of expression, but also the extent to which ethics and issues of morality apply when it comes to individuals within their own personal capacity. So, Dr. T, tell us about what has happened here.
So I received communication from the HPCSA that there has been a case brought to their attention that could amount to, well, this allegation is that there has been misconduct on my part. And given the different regulations and timelines to respond, I was, of course, at the time on a UN mission active out of the country, and I was also preparing for the Human Rights Council and asked for an extension. And so I got legal representation who was then assisting me in that regard. And so we did provide the HPCSA a very substantive response to those allegations.
When we look at the criticism that you have waged and leveled against what has been happening in the Middle East, it has been a consistent criticism. And in some instances, there has been, I don't know if inflammatory language is the right description for it, as has been found by the HPCSA. But certainly, in some instances, you are swearing about what is happening. You know, there's some explicitives used in your language and in your criticism. Maybe reflect for us on what has informed that, because I'm sure this is something that you have been intentional about. I don't want to assume that you've been unaware of the different positions you hold in society and what it means, let's say, for somebody in your position to say to Netanyahu, if you on X.
So we have the context to how I have methods of work available to me as a special rapporteur, which I've been using to direct and directly engage with the member state of Israel, bringing the issues to them around their genocidal plans. But what is in fact a genocide, an illegal occupation, to a man who himself is a wanted criminal? The ICJ's advisory opinions that have issued from Israel have made this matter no longer a what Dr. Tlaleng says Israel is doing. It is what the international human rights law and community and the court is saying. And so many of us, of course, had already been analyzing this as such. But at this stage of this conversation, it's no longer about what I allege Israel to be doing in terms of a genocide. They are committing a genocide and they have failed to make it stop. And therefore, any rage and fury around the fact that the UN have failed to prevent that the member states of Israel itself and its prime minister continue to bombard a population, children, and besiege them with bombs for 2 years straight. That rage and fury is absolutely valid. And what I am particularly saying is that my language will not be policed in the response to that kind of savagery and evil that has been unleashed on a population for 2 years. Now, the context of all of this is that the HPCSA is supposed to be a body that firstly, as medical practitioners, we register with, and that secondarily looks after the rights and the interests of the patients. And I don't know where in me saying that Israel is a genocidal machinery of violence that's imperial, and that when Netanyahu was announcing that he's storing a ceasefire back in February, and I replied to a completely different tweet that had nothing to do with him, and all I said was, of course, F him. That is the sum total of the wording against Netanyahu that is supposed to be vulgar. Everything else has been a litany of people who, of course, have time and resources to go through one's Twitter from 5 years ago, even to find words like WTF and underline those as a sign of not being fit to be a medical doctor. What I will say without any fear is that I am a doctor that is anti colonial, anti racist, anti imperialist, and I will continue to use the United Nations for that very, very thing. And in the face of a genocide, for 2 years, the fury and the rage that I carry within me is not the point. The point is that we have to stop a genocide, not my reaction to a war criminal that is wanted by the ICC.
I'm going to continue this conversation with Dr. T after this quick break.
I don't love waking up before the sunrise. I don't love wearing a school uniform. But I do love learning. I do love saving my mom money on transport and uniforms while I still get a good education. I do love UCT Online High School because I do love my future. Apply online before 28 November.
There's no time to fudge around on the Tastemaster Junior this Tuesday evening at 7:30 on SABC2. After surviving elimination and making it to the top 10, our young chefs pair up to craft colorful gift boxes of fudge from scratch. But will their flavors melt hearts or melt away under pressure? That's the Tastemaster Junior, Tuesday evenings at 7:30. Repeat Wednesdays at 1 and Sundays at 4 p.m. Only on SABC2.
This October month, SAFM focuses on cybersecurity awareness. As we live more of our lives online, staying safe in the digital world has never been more important. From spotting cyber threats to protecting your personal data, SAFM brings you the conversations that empower you to stay secure. SAFM, leading the conversations that move us. The Talking Point with Cathy Mohlahlana, weekdays 9 a.m. till midday.
All right, so we continue the conversation then looking into the matter of the HPCSA finding Dr. Tlaleng Mofokeng guilty of misconduct in relation to her criticism of the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and the actions of the Israeli government in Gaza. So, Dr. T, as far as you know, has the HPCSA made this finding based solely on the tweet where you say "if you" in reference as a quote tweet in reference to the story that is talking about the actions of Benjamin Netanyahu, or is it based on other evidence that was submitted, and are you able to share what that other evidence might be? Because of course the HPCSA right now is not really wanting to say much about this matter.
No, I'm not sure. I mean, my legal team gave them a very substantive response. First and foremost is that I have immunities and privileges legally from the UN. That means that I cannot be prosecuted or persecuted in doing this mandate in the work of defending the right to health and human rights, first and foremost. Secondly, is that the HPCSA itself has no jurisdiction to discipline United Nations experts and special rapporteurs. And thirdly, I'm still looking for this patient that the HPCSA is protecting from me from speaking out against genocide in a genocidal state of violence making and a wanted war criminal. Fifthly, I also do not understand why the HPCSA is so eager in such a fast manner that we've never seen them before act on any complaint received in a matter of weeks, that they are able to look at all of the substantive evidence that we have given them and all of the ways in which we have talked about the fact that they are being used to silence activists, and that unfortunately that has come true in the way that have communicated. For me, I received a one-page letter, 3 paragraphs, one that clearly speaks about a committee that has resolved in a preliminary inquiry, and then an imposing of a fine. That's the sum total of the communication received from HPSCSA. So I also do not know any of the questions that you've just asked me.
In the communication and in the statement that they have shared with us, it is quite short. What they do is that they confirm they received a complaint from the South African Zionist Federation. They confirm the dates on which the inquiry was held. They confirm that a resolution was communicated to you. Um, and then go on to say that they cannot talk about this matter as it is not finalized, and that a resolution from the committee that is holding the preliminary inquiry has been communicated and is pending. You raise an important issue around how quickly they have been able to get through this thing. Do you feel that you are being victimized here?
The victimization is on every single person, individual around the world, and of course, medical doctors who I have also been helping in support throughout the world in many jurisdictions, who are being silenced for speaking out against genocide, who are being silenced for speaking out directly and criticizing the Israeli state, which is a violence-making state. The problem here is that they want to produce a chilling effect on anyone or anything that they think has a potential to sway public opinion, to speak truth to power, and has the resilience to do so. In this case, what they are absolutely detesting, it's the fact that the United Nations does work for some of us and some people who are marginalized, who are vulnerable. And of course, most of us don't want to be in a genocide. We want the genocide to have stopped. We want an unconditional ceasefire. But for as long as some of us exist, they know that their crimes are being documented, are being witnessed, are being chronicled. And when the moment comes for accountability, they can no longer make the claims that they used to make not even 5 years ago. And so right now, what they are trying to do is make sure that they break down systems of international human rights law, that they break down systems even within the UN itself that were designed to be for prevention and accountability. So this resistance that many of us are displaying are going against everything that they want to be able to get away with, which is why we must continue to speak up. We must continue to use the human rights tools afforded to us. Are we angry and full of rage and fury? Absolutely. Will that be what comes out when we speak about these issues? Absolutely. We are humans, not machines and not computers. We too have feelings, and we are watching children and documenting humans every single day being slaughtered by the Israeli machinery. So for me, it's less about the fury and the rage and a couple of swear words, and more about a war criminal who's wanted by the ICC, continues to have diplomatic, economic protections, including the power to harass and come after anyone it does not like, who, by the way, does not, again, have the same resources as them to protect themselves.
That being said, do you believe that it is appropriate to use that language? Because the HPCSA
We cannot
views it
police
as,
the language.
as inflammatory and not befitting of a medical
No, we don't
practitioner.
know that. We don't know. They don't say that. They don't say that in their judgment. So we don't know what part of what they use to make the misconduct claim. Doctors are human beings, and in me discharging my mandate as the UN Special Rapporteur, precisely commenting on an issue I've been talking about even before October the 7th, by the way, the escalation of this October the 7th became more public, but many of us have been criticizing Israel even before then. The matter at hand here is that we have a genocidal state that does not want to be held accountable by anyone. On the one hand, we have an institution that is domestic, that is supposed to be protecting patients' rights from doctors. Which patient is the HPCSA protecting from me speaking about a wanted war criminal and using the F word? Which South African patient is the HPCSA concerned about in that context, even if you just want to limit to that? So there are many questions that we all have. I would love to know some of the thinking and the analysis of the HPCSA using international human rights law, because one can do the job they do and still not be a nice person. It doesn't mean you can't do a job. So if this is about that, then we've lost in terms of defending human rights. I mean, the fight against apartheid in South Africa, as we understand it as Black South Africans today, I think the people who were fighting for our freedom were more concerned about coming across with decorum and looking nice for perpetrators and oppressors. I don't know where we would be, right? So for me, this is about the principle ultimately using global, regional, and domestic ways to attack and harass and intimidate those who Israel and its allies do not like for speaking up about the genocide. That is what's happening. I don't know where inside of myself I'm supposed to deregulate the rage and fury and the disgust and the disappointment of watching what Israel has done in terms of this genocide for 2 years. There is no way. And I will continue to be mad and angry. And I can still do cerebral cognitive good work, being all of that at the same time. And remember, many of us are also doing other important work within the UN that is outside of the Israel and the Gaza genocide, right? So our ability to be good special rapporteurs and mandate holders is absolutely can't be a question now, because Israel does not like the fact that we criticize them.
Dr. T, let me thank you for your contribution to our show this morning. As you can hear, absolutely standing her ground, and says she will continue. This matter, of course, is still going to continue before the HPCSA. Will build on this conversation on the other side of the news headlines.
Thank you, Cathy. On the news headlines on SAFM, I'm Wandilambana, and a very good morning. National Coloured Congress MP Fadil Adams has laid a criminal complaint against National Police Commissioner Fani Masemula at the Cape Town Central Police Station. The Independent Police Investigative Directorate has confirmed investigations into a case where a police officer allegedly shot and killed his girlfriend before turning the gun on himself in Monte Vista in Cape Town. And National Taxi Alliance has criticized law enforcement agencies for allegedly failing to root out the long ongoing taxi warfare between industry associations. A full update follows at the top of the hour.
SAFM 104 to 107. Nationwide.
The National Pulse, weekdays 3 to 6 p.m.
Paul Biya has secured his 8th term in office. He's the world's oldest president. He's been declared the winner of the Cameroon presidential election.
I have told you, and I continue to tell you, this is a guy in Cameroon who has ruled it 93 years. He doesn't speak. He can't speak. He is completely out of his mind. He doesn't know where he is. All the leaders in Cameroon, the president of the Senate is 93. The president of the parliament is 89. Another one is 82. Another one is 91. Oh, the army general, the police commander is 93. Oh, look, I am not against it.
Dr. David Matsanga, the International Relations and Conflict Resolution.
Ashraf Garda on SAF.
All right, let's take a quick look at your markets for this morning. The rand is currently trading at 17 rand 29 to the dollar, 22 rand 70 to the pound, and 19 rand 98 to the euro. Markets in Asia were mainly weaker at the closing bell. The JSE mixed in mid-morning trade. Markets in Europe are trading weaker. Gold is trading at $4,025. Platinum, $1,618 per ounce. The price of Brent crude oil is at $64.98 a barrel.
The Talking Point with Cathy Mohlahlana. Weekdays, 9 a.m. till midday.
Well, let's continue on our conversation then looking at this matter of the HPCSA and its guilty finding against Dr. Tlaleng Mofokeng. Joining us on the line is Veronica Mente. She's an MP of the EFF. Ms. Mente, good morning to you.
Good morning, Kathy, and good morning to
And Dr. Kgosi Letlape is the former head of the HPCSA, also a member of Parliament for Action SA, and he'll also be joining this conversation shortly. So, Veronica, the EFF has issued a statement strongly condemning these actions by the HPCSA and this decision. Tell us why.
Yes, Kathy. Number one is that Dr. Tlaleng is an activist and a human rights that is the highest part with all the mandates of all countries that are in the US. And with that, we are women and we are vulnerable in the country. And we hope that bodies like HP will protect. It comes as a very shock to find that HP is now at the call of Zionists that are protecting warmongering Netanyahu and the Israel that are brutally attacking on a day-to-day hospitals, medical care, and the community of Israel. So we are not expecting the board of South Africa to be protecting homeowners, to be protecting brutalization, to be even against the position of the country, which was at the ICC, which was ultimately ruled that Netanyahu is people Israel and is now a war criminal. We find it very shocking that a body of that would right out advocate for people to be killed, but not advocate for people in the territory of South Africa. We're waiting for them to come and tell us what is happening with the Christians who are being issued with all medication. We're waiting for them to tell us about the children in the that are dying with wrong medication. And we're waiting for them to tell us about the state in the city of South Africa. But here they are within a space of 2 days advancing the cause of some Zionist movement. We think of our own country. Who do they think they are? That they must certain activity and these are the activity movement is so in that spirit we are going to protect, we are going to defend and utilize whatever possible defend the rights of Palestine regime, and we are going to defend anyone in this country who is fighting against the brutality of Palestine.
So, as far as you're concerned, then, Veronica, as the EFF, you support the view that says that the HPCSA actually has no jurisdiction over this matter, that this shouldn't even be a matter that they concern themselves with, despite the fact that, of course, Dr. T is a registered medical doctor in this country.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like I was saying, we are waiting for HPCSA to on patients in the country, whether on medical staff that are not doing their work in hospitals, whether people without education, they have no to be with food. A special reporter in policing the language of activists. They know for sure that this human rights challenges that are similarly in the very same language that advocates for, just like any other for was critical of, but we find a body within South Africa, a country that is go people Israel to the highest court, and we find a body that borders itself about the they who will advocate and and the Palestine by
Okay.
the Israeli.
All right. I'm going to ask you to stay on the line, Miss Mente. In a moment, we bring in Dr. Josi Letlape.
Clientele is here to safeguard you and your family with compassion because life happens. Be part of a family that truly cares. Our funeral dignity plans have helped South Africans bury their loved ones with dignity for more than 30 years. Let us help you create a meaningful tribute that honors your life and those of your loved ones. We pay out within 24 hours and you will get double accident cover with a clientele funeral plan. Our plans are affordable. Pick the option that suits your needs. Easy to apply, no medical examinations, and no paperwork. SMS SAFM to 48031. That's 48031. Clientele Life is an authorized FSP and licensed life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
The Expresso Morning Show has been nominated in 5 categories in the 3rd Annual National Film and Television Awards South Africa.
It all happens on Saturday, the 22nd of November 2025 at the South African State Theatre in Pretoria. And public voting is open from the 13th of October to the 20th of November at midday.
So visit nationalfilmacademy.com, register and vote for Expresso Morning Show in all 5 categories.
Then, of course, catch us weekdays 6 to 9 a.m. right here on S3.
Cathy Mohlahlana on SAFM.
Well, we continue with our conversation then to build on this matter. Dr. Josi Letlape, you're the former head of the HPCSA, but now also a member of Parliament for Action SA. Good morning.
Good morning
I
to
want
you and good morning to the listeners.
Thank you so much for joining us. You, of course, will bring in a perspective, having served as the head of the organization, of understanding the rules and regulations and also the thinking that informs part of the decisions that are made around doctors, the ethics, the morality, how they conduct themselves, etc. Your own, perhaps, first impression of this decision that has been made?
I think the key issue would be about jurisdiction. Remember that as healthcare professionals, we need to conduct ourselves properly, even in our personal. That's what is expected of us. That's what we encourage. The jurisdiction of the EPC is on professional act and on acts that pertain to how we deal with our patients. So I think there's going to be a need to clarify the issue of jurisdiction. Because if I'm doing something personally and stress somebody at a wedding, are they now going and they report me to the council? Is the council going to take them? At a point, I have a piece of my life, the spirit of my, or do they say that everything we do, we can involve? And that's going to be
Do you believe that this is going to open a Pandora's box of sorts? And, we're talking about Dr. Galeng's matter now, but there's been another issue that I've been quite fascinated with. It's the age of social media. You've got younger generations of doctors that are qualifying. And, we have doctors that will go onto social media. Some of them are dancing, some of them are doing all sorts of things. And there's, in fact, been in some instances people who will say, well, but this person is not acting or behaving very doctorly like. They've recorded a TikTok and they're dancing, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, at least of the face of it. So do you believe that this may open a Pandora's box of sorts about what is constituted as appropriate behavior? What is this? What constitutes proper in the view of the HPCSA?
Well, for me, it's not really a Pandora's box, it's an opportunity. Having president saying, remember, even as president, complaints don't come, they go extra committee. As president, the only time you're going to get involved on complaints, if there's an appeal, you go to the chair of a particular board. So the issue here is I'm going to ensure in the health committee, we have an urgent intervention. We call the HPCSA for them to clarify what their mandate, to clarify whether there's a distinction between what that register with them do as professionals, what they do outside the profession. Because that's an important point to clarify.
Of course, a finding like this would, in and of itself, set some precedent of sort, right? And as you're rightfully saying, then a doctor who's at any other social gathering, swearing at somebody or speaking, saying something inappropriate, they could well end up in court. There have been those, Dr. Leklape, who've raised the fact that you have individuals such as the likes of Volta Basson who are still practicing as doctors today, an individual that has infamously become to be known as Dr. Death. And yet, the level of urgency, expediency with which this matter has been attended to also raises eyebrows because there seems to be an inconsistency in all of it. But how do we make sense of it, at least based on your understanding of how these works? Is it because they're sitting before different committees? Why is there this level of inconsistency?
Problem is that the way the HPCSA work, that by law, any complaint is because a member that is on their register got to investigate the complaint. But they also have the responsibility to be able to say this complaint does not pertain. This, you want to complain about this, go to the court, go to the Human Rights Commission, go to the criminal court. The problem is about them being able to understand that does not mean every complaint about a member on their register for them to do. And that's what needs to be clarified. And there's a bigger concern, not just people on social media. It's about people that have jobs in other jurisdictions, like this particular matter that we're doing. If somebody works for the UN and there's misconduct in that regard, that matter should be dealt with through UN. If you are an employee of somebody and there's something that happens in the employment environment, that employer needs to deal with it. If it's anything to do with patient care anywhere, that's where the HPCSA will be directed. So those are the issues that need to be sorted out. Remember, a few years ago, we had the issue about MEC of Health went to a hospital then in Limpopo. And the Health Professionals Council received a complaint and they immediately identified the when practitioners are in different roles where they are not involved in patient care, they are involved in policy making, etc. What is the accountability of the Health Professionals Council? Are they accountable? If for me, working as a parliamentarian, there's something wrong that I do in parliament, does that matter get dealt with in parliament or does it get dealt with in the Health Professionals Council? These are the issues that need clarification. And I'm going to ensure that we embark on a process of engaging with the HPCS as legislators to get this issue clarified.
the Minister of Health. Where's the lie? Where am I, a Minister of Health, doing cabinet functions assigned to me by the President, KPAs from the President, and forming political functions? Do I now, in that regard, answer to a regulatory body that's going to regulate the profession and professional ethics? Those are the issues that need clarification. And I'm going to ensure that this matter is put on the agenda of the Portfolio Committee of Health Agency and HPC brought Parliament for engagement issue.
Sure, it certainly has sparked what is a really, really important conversation. And listening to you articulate it, Dr. Likabe, in the way that you have, I think it helps all of us see where the potential difficulty and danger might be going forward if this is the line that the HPCSA then holds, especially for so many medical practitioners. Okay, we're getting lots of calls on this issue. I'm going to ask both our guests to stay on the line. Maybe before I take our call lines, Veronica, is there anything you want to put on the table before I bring in our listeners?
Yes, yes, thank you very much. You know, I said earlier on, we're going to platform available to us to defend Dr. Salim and actually the of the of a since three and the latest one that is continuous bombing reports in Gaza. HPC has HPC has voted in favor of being in any of the in brings down a question as to say the country that they are voting has taken is effort to yet want to end what those smaller countries. It's a question: who are they that are they in the are they the and in cases that for which priority one and of the that should be as soon as possible. And I suppose what part of what was doing that member of parliament also the issue to parliament to avail itself this mandate and over and not limited
Okay. All right. Let me bring in Hassan in Johannesburg. I'm going to ask our callers, please let's try our keep our statements or questions short. Good morning, Hassan.
Good morning. I must say, in the studio there, you've got people that I'd like to meet for the integrity. You know, I work around media just and I've looked at the Sunday World Report Matter. It was appalling. Went with the Zionist Federation uh, attacking the doctor without giving her a chance to speak. You know, the article is almost exactly reflective of just. And I really just want to know if this is the exceptionalism that our media is to. It comes to Israel standards. You know? This is really unfair. So
Okay.
big up to the doctor.
Okay. Thanks, Hassan. Mike in Newlands, good morning.
Good morning, Cathy. Good morning to your guest. Well, look, give you a guest into Israel. I think so. I've been there 3 times, and I can agree with Mandela's granddaughters who just come back. There's absolutely no apartheid in Israel. It's sad that they've never been. Really, I do wish I could assert
I don't think that it's about Israel, Mike. It's about what is happening in the Gaza Strip.
it's part of the narrative. But I want to just touch on your verse. Just passion that she has kind of only perhaps killed 29% of our children, black children die. Sorry,
Mike,
having stunted
Mike,
growth.
clearly you have no record of the work that Dr. T has done as an activist. Go and look it up. She served at the Gender Commission. Go and see what she did and the matters that she brought before this country when she was serving at the Gender Commission.
Okay, Cassie, and the other thing I just want to finally mention, and I take your point there, I haven't done any research to that fact, but just spoken of. I'm finding this like your best is that you. Why do we get any outrage and two people blood in the town square in Gaza by Hamas in public in front of women and children? There was absolutely no outrage. Nobody started anyone on never to me why are we Hamas we have now seen they shoot their own people. Why are we rushing around? Should we not concentrate our efforts on Sudan or even the people in our own country?
Okay. All right, Mike, you've had your say. Pele, you're in Kronstadt. Good morning.
Good morning to you and your guest. It's not surprising Mike is like that. There's always been saying as a good uh, like, uh, Dr. Muhammad told us that hey, three and mentioned one. I'm really that wasn't really educated all at the beginning. I was giving us play from the agency.
Okay. All right, Pele, let's bring in some of the voice notes that you've been sending through.
Good morning, Ashkefi. Good morning to the listeners. Atuka here, the free speech absolutist. I know as a free speech absolutist, I believe that our free speech has got consequences, but I can't see anything wrong with what the doctor has done here. I am saying F. Netanyahu. Are the Zionist organizations now going to call SAFM and say that Atuka must never be allowed to ever make a voice note a contribution to this show because he said F Netanyahu. I did not say F the Israeli people or anything like that. I said F an individual that is a war criminal. What the HPCA say is wrong and they need to be held accountable. It's wrong, guys. There's no defense for what they are doing to the good doctor.
Good morning, Cathy Mohlahlana from listeners. Cathy, this attack on the doctor, it's clear that, Israel is trying to entrench its authority on our associations in South Africa. Should we allow that, we are doomed. We are doomed. The next thing we'll see us being another colony of Israel. We need to guard against that. We really need to guard against that.
Good morning. I just wanna share my thoughts with regards to Dr. Tlaleng Mofokeng. There's no crime in freedom of expression, but at the end of the day, she needs to be considerate since she holds in society. She needed to not use so many derogatory profanity words, to express how she feels. There was no necessity for all of that because her point doesn't even come across well because those profane words are being put out there for what? There's no necessity in that, and she's alienating herself at this point in time. But this is just my opinion. I don't hear him, Brian.
All right. Thank you for those reflections, contributions. It has certainly sparked a very interesting debate. Maybe to conclude, Dr. Letlape, let me give you the last word.
Yeah, this is an important issue. And as a registered trained healthcare professional, I have stake in the game. And there needs to be clarity provided on this. And I will ensure that we will give you feedback. We'll put it on the agenda of the portfolio committee. there'll be an agent request for interaction with the HPC this matter, because this has far-reaching implications for registered practitioners that are called in different offices. Has been called, like Dr. Putura MEC of Health, like Dr. Arun Mupaledi, Minister of Health. So we just need to know what should guidance on this.
Okay.
So that when it is not about the primary role of the HPSA, we must refer it to the right place. For example, this state have said, what is the UN's position on this matter? Because in this regard, Dr. Paleng does not work the practitioner in South Africa anywhere else working, and that's where the complaint should go.
Okay. Let me thank you for your time, Dr. Josi Letlape, former head of the HPCSA, now a member of parliament for Action SA, Veronica Mente, who's an MP of Parliament for the Economic Freedom Fighters. All right, that's where we'll leave it for now with this particular conversation. I think that it's going to be interesting to see how the rest of it unfolds, but certainly sparking a very, very important conversation. If your doctor is swearing in public, but they're not in the office, can they be taken to the HPCSA? That's what's at the heart of this matter. It's time for your latest news update.
Thank you, Cathy. On the top stories, a criminal complaint laid against Commissioner Masamula and SA weather issues a warning across large parts of the country. For SFM News, I'm Ondelambana and a very good morning. National Coloured Congress MP Fadil Adams has laid a criminal complaint against National Police Commissioner Fani Masamula at the Cape Town Central Police Station. Adams accuses Masamula of nepotism. He has also raised concern with Acting Deputy National Police Commissioner Tibelo Musigidi. Adams laid a criminal charge of perjury against KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi on Tuesday. This is in relation to Mkhwanazi's withdrawal of his claim that former Police Minister Bheki Cele received money from attempted murder-accused tenderpreneur Vusumuzi Matlala. Adams spoke with SABC News outside the police station.
We have laid a criminal complaint against General Masemola for nepotism because so many of his family members worked at SAPS, in his office, and many of them without the right credentials. We're also raising the issue of Acting Deputy National Commissioner Motsikile, who has been accused of stealing from Macro. She's never been cleared by IPID as far as we know. The criminal case has just died, as most things do within SAPS. We are not coming here accusing anyone of anything without any evidence. We are actually putting names, dates, timeframes into what we have.
The Independent Police Investigative Directorate has confirmed investigations into a case where a police officer allegedly shot and killed his girlfriend before turning the gun on himself in Monte Vista in Cape Town. Their bodies were found on Tuesday after the woman failed to turn up for work. IPD spokesperson Paladi Shuping says the deceased officer was attached to the Belleville Crime Prevention Unit.
It is alleged that the neighbors had gunshots on Monday night, and the two bodies were discovered on Tuesday afternoon. The woman who was found on the bed was allegedly shot 6 times by the police officer, and the officer had one gunshot wound to the head. The case was reported to IPID for investigations.
The National Taxi Alliance has criticized law enforcement agencies for allegedly failing to root out the long ongoing taxi warfare between industry associations. Taxi bosses in Gauteng are living in fear after a surge in murders, including the killing of the Alexandra Randburg Midrand Senton Taxi Association, AMSTA chairperson Victor Mogeletsi and his bodyguard yesterday. This follows the murder of Gauteng NTA chairperson Tami Moyo last month, despite several rival taxi associations across the country having signed peace agreements. Gauteng NTA spokesperson Theo Malele.
I don't think that the police are doing enough. That was the case. I mean, we will also hear, even in the Maklanga Commission, how some of the police were involved in concealing the matter of the operators. And I feel that in such a country where white That is, what does it mean? Yes, we don't have much moving about. Really don't know what is next step.
The South African Weather Service has issued warnings for severe thunderstorms across large parts of the country. A yellow level 4 warning alert is in place for the central and eastern Free State, while a level 2 warning affects the rest of the Free State, the northwest, eastern, northern Cape, and southern Gauteng. Senior forecaster Tukelo Chilwane says there's a high chance of showers and thunder showers today.
There is a 30 to 60% chance of showers and thunder showers over the central and eastern parts of the country today. A yellow level 4 warning has been issued for severe thunderstorms over the central and eastern Free State, while a yellow level 2 warning is in place for the rest of the state, the northwest, the eastern northern Cape, the eastern Cape, and the southern Gauteng. These warnings are valid for today, 31 October. The South African Weather Service will continue to monitor the situation and keep the public updated.
The family of Virginia Giuffre, who accused Andrew of sexual abuse, has described King Charles' decision as a victory that is unprecedented in history. King Charles is stripping his younger brother Andrew of his title of prince because of the continuing controversy over his links to the late American sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. He'll now be known as Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. He'll also leave his residence and move to private accommodation funded by the king. Andrew has denied any wrongdoing. Sky Roberts is Virginia Giuffre's brother.
She'd be so proud. He's just Andrew. He's no longer a prince. And she is celebrating from the heavens right now, saying, I did it. This normal girl has taken down a prince. This is a moment that is unprecedented in history.
Recapping the top story, National Coloured Congress MP Fadil Adams has laid a criminal complaint against National Police Commissioner Fanny Masemula at the Cape Town Central Police Station. Adams accuses Masemula of nepotism. I'm Wonderlambana for SFM News Headlines at 11:30.
SAFM 104 to 107 nationwide.
It all starts with advice from FNB Private. Because the perfect overseas trip starts with planning. Save and spend in multiple currencies with your FNB Global account and lock in exchange rates. Enjoy up to 40% off flights with eBucks Travel and order Forex on the FNB app delivered to you at no extra cost. Your adventure awaits. Unlock invaluable with FNB Private. Help changes everything. FNB, a division of First Rand Bank Limited, an authorized FSP and credit provider. TC's earn rules and limits apply.
This October month, SAFM joins the world in breast cancer awareness. We bring you conversations that highlight the importance of early detection, survivor stories that inspire hope, and expert advice that could save lives. Together, let's spread awareness and support the fight against breast cancer. SAFM, leading the conversations that move us.
Doing the right thing just got more rewarding. From the 8th of October to the 31st of December, when you pay your SABC TV license, we'll say thank you with a 50 Rand grocery voucher and more. It's our way of celebrating you for helping us to keep local stories and talent alive. Pay, wait for your SMS, and follow the instructions to claim your reward. Make sure your contact details are up to date so we can send your prize straight to you. TV licenses, pay yours, make a difference.
The Friday Wind Down. Kick off your weekend the right way.
Mhlahlengu, hayi mntanam uyisusile ke ngoku uyisusile. Uyabona xa udlala isitimela, awu, you just reminded me of the good old days. You know, oh, the slow train music. I started loving these guys because I was friends with older brass who taught me how to work when I was doing part-time jobs at the garage. And they used to like Stimela. And it got into my blood vessels. And I also loved it, the slow moving train. Oh, big up to Semi, Jovu, and the others for keeping Stimela alive and grooming the youth to be part of Stimela. Love you guys. I'll always do. We miss those others. They must rest in peace. Your Ray Pires, your Nana, Isaac Ngamchali, and a lot of them. You must rest in peace.
Oh man, I did say that today was going to be somewhat of a throwback, and I think that voice note starts us off well. A journey down memory lane. Sam Ndlovu, the lead vocalist of Stimela, is in studio with me this morning. The honor is really all ours. Good morning, Daddy Sam.
Ma'am, thank you so much for having us. I think I would like to turn it the other way around and say the honor is ours because you don't really owe us anything. Um, but here we are talking 45 years later about a national heritage, and you guys have found it suitable that you have us here today. So thank you for having us.
While Zwakala was on, you were singing along, and I was asking you if you still remember the lyrics to all the songs that you have done. It's a lot of songs, but you're the lead singer, so
Yeah.
there's a lot more pressure on you than anybody else to make sure that you remember all those lyrics.
It's strange because it's like the road that you travel every day.
Yeah,
You don't forget it. You know
sure.
that you can even, without thinking, know that I'm supposed to be turning left here and turning right there. That's how it becomes.
Let's talk about the foundation of Stimela. Yesterday, we can talk about 45 years that you've been part of the soundtrack of our lives. But this 45 years has a journey, it has a context.
Mm.
Let's talk about the name first, because I think that how the name Stimela came about is fascinating, it is interesting, and one can almost take themselves to Mozambique, where all of the drama
Took
that
place.
the band members were experiencing took place. So
Yeah.
so tell us about that for the benefit of what we know is our audience, and probably in there a younger generation that might know Stimela
Yeah.
but would not necessarily know where this name comes from.
Yeah, it's a very fascinating one, as you say. The guys took a tour. Remember, Stimela is a combination of musicians from two bands, the Cannibals and the Movers. So the Cannibals had a tour of Mozambique, and in those days it was like we're going to book a hall there, and then we're gonna have every evening shows and so on. So the idea was that we're gonna make a killing. So the promoter, when they got to Mozambique, took their passports and kept them with him so that they don't run away. And then things didn't go as they had planned. And then no Ray said, not, we have to go back home. But now the problem is we don't have our passports. So they decided, okay, Chikap, me now I'm gonna go for the guy that's got our passports. When you go for the guy olapha emnyango who's got the money, isaka le mali, so that at least we know we've got the money. Siyobamba train ebuyela
This sounds like a heist.
ekhaya.
It sounds like a heist. The band members effected a heist.
They had to come back home. And they didn't have the means, so they knew ukuthi loya uphethe imali lo unama passport wethu. And that's what they did. And then they caught a train back home. But even the money was not
You
enough.
have to describe what is that's what they did. Give us the details.
No, phela
Don't worry. I think the matter has already prescribed in
baye
terms of
bakhulumisana
criminality.
nalo ophethe imali ukuthi ndoda ake sikhulumisane. Yeah, amapantsula angisho besisayikhuluma ukuthi isitimela ibhendi yamapantsula.
So they had a nice conversation with the guy.
Yeah, they had a
Obviously.
nice conversation to
Yes,
say
and asked him
mfowethu
very nicely.
yeah, uyabona bhuti kufanele sibuyele ekhaya manje siboleke lesaka uyabona. Yeah. Oh man, yeah. So that's when the time therefore came for the guys to come up with a name for the band, because the train had taken them from Mozambique back home, even though nayo yaphelela endleleni, because at some point they had to get into ngalesiya sikhathi bekunama Fiat encane, they were 7, but they had to fit into baba guy lift bazama ukubuya ekhaya. So when they had to settle for a name, they came up to say, you know what, Stimela, because then the train took us from Eglahlweni back home. And then it's symbolic of the ever evolving nature of the band that we want to establish. That is why we're here 45 years later.
Wow, what an incredible story.
Mm.
But I'm still trying to conjure up how 7 grown men
Eh,
fit themselves into a
yeah, kuthiwa
Fiat.
bekunabosisi about 2 khona laphana kule Fiat.
Were there some on the roof?
I don't know bebahleli kanjani. Nama ngisabutanga ukuthi manje benihleli njani bhuti. Yeah.
Absolutely fascinating
Yeah.
tales.
Mm.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how they ended up with the name Stimela. And
Mm.
we talk about the story 45 years on.
Mm.
We're going to continue reflecting on the life and times then of Stimela with the lead vocalist Sam Ndlovu shortly. Let's take a quick break.
Streaming Skim Sum on the way to class.
Catching the Premier League while waiting for your order.
Jamming to Metro FM before you even get out of bed.
On SABC Plus, sinayo yonke into oyifunayo. Your shows, your music, your way, anytime, anywhere. Zero subscription fees.
On your phone, tablet, or smart TV.
Download SABC Plus on iOS or Google Play Store.
Extraordinary is built brick by digital brick. Vodacom Business powers strong businesses and thriving communities with scalable cloud, trusted security, smart AI, and IoT that connects what truly matters. This is how we're building a nation that's connected, empowered, and ready to lead. Visit www.vodacombusiness.co.za. Together, let's build the extraordinary. Vodacom Business, further together. Celebrating our music heritage right here on the Friday Wind Down.
Our music heritage celebrated through the lens of Stimela this morning, which we are going to be focusing on for the Friday wind down. Am in conversation rather, with Sam Ndlovu, who's the lead vocalist for this group. Sam, you spoke about the issue of evolution and the need for evolution as a group in order for you to still be standing here today. That in and of itself has not been easy. When we started, one of our listeners referenced the loss of really important members of this group. Maybe let's talk about those moments, right, where you are experiencing, of course, this loss, not only the loss of the individual, but their contribution for the group and um, how the group has dealt with that, and to what extent do you believe that it has affected and impacted you today?
You know, when Chikapa passed on, actually, Mina, I came onto the scene after the passing of Nana Coyote. Chikapa then brought me into the band. When we worked together for 7 years before he passed on. So that 7 years was like preparing me unknowingly on my part that I would need at some point to I'm not gonna feel in his shoes ever. There'll never be another Ray Peary. There'll never be another Isaac Mjali or Lloyd. But for me to be able to have a conversation with the journey once he had passed on. So when he passed on, we were fortunate because we had Umna, we had Jabu, we had Lloyd. So they said, no, asijindi, siyapambili. But then Mna passed on. You know, it's like now you are in a spin, you don't know what to do. And we said, let's just leave everything and walk away. And everywhere you go around, the people say, hey, auntie, what are you doing, Jens? Ninchinda kanjani ngoba sitimela says singachindi machida but nina niyachinda. So we had to dust ourselves up and say, what do we do? Fortunately, there were young guys already, especially in the keyboards, that they had already started grooming. So we summoned the young guys and said, gents, let's try put something together and see. And the outcome, sometimes I get emotional when I listen to the final product because it's like they were there themselves. And it can only mean one thing, that the rails of the train were built so strong, nothing will derail this train.
Do you find that because you have a particular sound, and there's a reason why people have loved you the way that they do, right? That within the evolution, you are having to make sure that you sound like traces of what you have sounded like through the decades. And how do you contend with that in a society that is ever changing, ever evolving? What South Africans enjoy listening today has somewhat changed, but it has also remained the same, right? And how do you find a voice for Stimela within this current dispensation?
Mina, I grew up. Um, the first song I listened to, or the first song I heard, AS Timela, it's I Hate Telling a Lie. I loved it from the first time I heard it. Now, we had our own small band, Ekas, and we used Istimela as our guiding light. The way we wrote or tried to write, arrange, and all of that. So people would say, Masdlala, hey, you sound like Istimela. So it was more like a natural progression coming into the band because then you come into that space where you find the people who have been doing something, who are doing something that you've been mimicking all the time. So that is why I'm saying it was like second nature. We didn't have to struggle to say how does it sound similar enough or anything of that kind. And when we listen to it, really, I'm at peace. I'm at peace.
For you as the lead singer, does that automatically make you the leader of the group?
No.
You answered that so quickly.
Stimela is led by the people. It's the people's band. The people tell us, as long as the people say we love Stimela, as long as we go to Bloemfontein 2 weeks ago and people say, wow, where have you guys been? We'll keep going. The day we go to a show and they fold their arms and they walk away, we'll know it's over.
But of course, somebody has to make the hard calls. Somebody has to bring everybody together. Somebody has to lead.
Don't be unfair to me.
And I'm not even asking it in a in a controversial way, you know, but the the group will always need a center, and perhaps maybe the question is, how do you guys manage that and find each other around that? Because that seems to be one of the big reasons that leads to groups breaking up and disintegrating, is that sometimes, you know, heads are just butting too much, and you know, there are all of these little things that are happening on the side. And so the fact that we're talking about Sumela 45 years on says that there is some kind of center, there is some kind of consensus around which the group is meeting, and that you all have agreement on.
I don't mind being their messenger because um, long before Chikapa passed on, he would send some tasks and say, do this, do that, do this. So until they decide this one is going to be our leader, Bakombo Munye, I don't mind being their messenger.
You are now in a phase where you are effectively bringing and producing new music.
Yeah.
We're going to be playing your new single coming up after news. In fact, I'm looking at the time now. It's edging towards the 9 or the 11:30 rather news headlines. So here's what we'll do. We'll continue the conversation with Sam on the other side of the latest news headlines. You, of course, can also get in touch. We will be taking your calls. The number to dial this morning is 086 000 2032. That's 086 000 2032. That's for the phone lines. And on the WhatsApp voice note line, 0614 104 107. And on X, you can send those messages at SFM Radio, the hashtag SFM Talking Point. So we'll take the latest headlines. And then on the other side of this is more with Sam and Stimela's new music, in particular, the new single that they've just dropped.
Thank you, Cathy. On the news headlines, National Coloured Congress MP Fadil Adams has laid a criminal complaint against National Police Commissioner Cathy Mohlahlana at the Cape Town Central Police Station. The Northern Cape High Court has sentenced a 39-year-old man to 25 years in prison for killing his partner with a garden spade in January this year. And the city of Cape Town has condemned an attack on a fire truck near Bishop Levis. A full update follows at the top of the hour.
Celebrating our music heritage right here on the Friday Wind Down.
I'm more than just a man. Through the good and the bad times, you remain the same, never changing. Some don't even know how their children grow. And some believe that money will raise their children. And society pays heavily. If that's so much more. Every child is a father. Hands alone don't make a man. Do you know what that means? This morning I woke up with that. Thinking about the lessons we never got to start. But then you were gone like a rolling stone, leaving me here to wonder. I was all alone, it was so scary. Show me how
how to play the game so anyhow. So I figure out the day. Gentle be my hour from this cruel and crazy world. See, I'm trying to find my own identity, a path that's mine, a road that's so clear. And your ghost keeps whispering, "Fear not, carry on." There's so much more. Father, I miss you more than just how I wish you were here. Imagine a world where Father somewhere, where love and kindness dispel everywhere. No more searching for answers, just a gentle guidance, shining like a light, for the children feel safe and secure. Matutalana, Musanu Wisi, Balanda.
More Than Just a Man. That's the latest single from Stimela. Quite a lot has gone into that. It's a story, it's an emotion. On one hand, at one point, I'm convinced you're talking about God as in God in heaven. And then after a while, as we go deep into the song, I'm not sure who we're talking about anymore because it feels like maybe you're talking about other fathers that have been there within the group. But you might be able to explain, Sam. It sounds a bit like a tribute song as well.
You know, somebody wrote on Facebook a few days ago, I think it was Vusi Mazarare. He said Chikapa was more than just a man.
Yeah.
So the situations that the band has found itself in, like I said, at some point we found ourselves asking, should we stop? Should we carry on? And then we look back and there've been traces of messages to say when times get hard, walk on.
Mm.
So those words come back and say, it's like you can hear this voice saying, fear not,
Mm.
carry on.
You seem to have had a very close relationship
You,
with.
you know what he would do when we were, fortunately, you know, Ray came from Bombela, where I'm coming from. So every time there are shows, we would drive together from home for rehearsals in Joburg and from Joburg to wherever we'd be playing. So he would tell me stories, you know, about, you know, the foundation of the band and so on. And then I remember, because he was a great cook, by the way. And when we got to shows, he loved cooking for the band.
Mhm.
He would go buy, you know, we'd go buy the ingredients and he would come back cook. And while he's cooking, he would be telling us stories from the foundations of the band and some funny stories and so on. So when the time came for him to leave, it was a very, very difficult time. I remember at the memorial, Mnca, broke down and he cried. And I tried to comfort him. At the actual funeral, it was I now who was crying. And I was like making light out of it, saying, hey, Yeput, say Bambe wena lento, kind of. so so you remember those people with the fondness. Chikapa would, right in the middle of the night, call in my hotel room. Are you, Sam, all right? Are you okay? In the morning, he would ask, why are you not at breakfast? Udlile. So he played more, just as much as he was like a big brother, but he played more of a father figure. And I lost my father when I was 11. Meeting them, they became both brothers and fathers in one. So this, you're correct. It's a tribute to all the fathers, but it's a tribute to them for having laid this solid foundation.
Tell us about that first phone call that you received
Hey,
that unlocked this journey of you being this part of Stimela today.
I had another great friend, Steve Kekana, the late Steve Kekana. He would say, mankind is a predetermined creature. I'm saying that because the morning where Chikapa was going to call me, it was back in 2010. They were launching um, the Lifetime album, the one where they featured Tandiswa and so on. They had recorded it before Nana passed on, but it was launched after posthumously. So from the morning around 2, 3, 4, you have this feeling like you wanna cry, but you don't know why. Then you wake up in the morning, you call home. No, they're fine. I called my mother, she's fine, but still you feel like I wanna cry. And around 5 in the afternoon that day, I said, no, something's not on. I've got to go home. Took my bags, put them in the car, drove about 5 or so Ks out. I felt that I could not hold this. Tears just started streaming down my face for no reason. I parked on the side, opened the door, left the car idling, opened the boot, sat like facing backwards where the car was coming from. Just that moment, my phone rang. It was Chikapa. Sam. I said, hello, wiping tears. Hello. And he said, Sam, wenzani kusasa? I told him, Putin Sepitritiva, you're not answering my question. I'm asking, wenzani kusasa? I said, I'm not doing anything. And he said to me, we're launching at the Market Theater and I want you here. Do you think you'll be able to make it? That was an opportunity of a lifetime. You don't say no to that. Immediately that moment, all the pressure, the tension, the tears just went away. And it was like this was a sign that something is about to happen, something major, life changing is about to happen. The following morning, I drove to the Market Theater. I said, but I haven't rehearsed. He said, no, don't worry. While we're doing sound check, we'll be taking you through. And sadly, there was an event before the launch. So they could not do the sound check. And they said, you'll swim. That was it. That we're here today.
And the rest is history.
The rest is history, as they say.
Sure, what a story. I know that you guys want to come on. I'm already seeing the list of callers that are on. I'm going to be coming to you shortly. Brian Mabayem Protea Glen says it's such a beautiful song, talking about the single that we just played.
Thank you.
About how every father, every child rather needs a father. And when that song is playing, I look at my young daughter and I just burst into tears as I didn't know my father, but here I am as a father being a responsible father. Well, kudos to you, Brian.
Thank you, brother. Keep going.
Dr. Velin Klapo says, as a teacher, I used Stimela songs to teach poetry concepts like initial, internal, and end rhythm, end rhyme rather,
Yeah.
including rhythm. The lyricism of Stimela is unmatched. Now, here's somebody who's
Yeah.
really gone
Yeah.
a bit,
Yeah.
done a bit of thinking
Academic.
into
Yeah.
into
Yeah.
those lyrics,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. And we were having a conversation earlier precisely about the structure, the
Yes,
construction of the lyrics for Stimela.
yes,
You
yes.
don't just write, it has to be intentional,
It's very deliberate.
deliberate.
And one hears it also in the depth of what is being said.
Yeah.
I'm going to take some of the voice notes and then bring on our callers on the line. Let's take 2 voice notes and then we'll get to our phone lines.
Good day once again, Kathy. Good day. I'm listening to the man there. I'm telling you, Stimela used to do things for us, and it's still continuing to do wonderful. But Kathy, man, he sounds emotional, man. Maybe it's that when he comes to this thing, he becomes emotional, or is he like, does he talks like that every time? So I get painful because I love Stimela so much. Good morning, Marumo.
Good morning, House Kathy and your guest. Bam, imnaka. Yiye kunjani lapho mnaka mani? Ngijabule kakhulu ngihlokomele mnaka kuva ilizwi lakho namuhla mani. After it's been a while, sagcina nalo kuyangalesa sikhathi lesi sinabo bhushi site khona le sibeka amagugu sitobeka lo mnaka lo umtshali umnqa. Manje ngithi mina ngiyajabula kuva lokhu kakhulu ukuthi leli qembu liyachubeka mnaka ngoba ngabuta nabo Thapelo lapha sinabo lapha ngaphandle boThapelo nabo mashinini. Babuta ukuthi manje madoda mase kusuka la manje kuyiwaphi manje siyajabula ukuthi no nibuyile nazama ukuhlangana bafowethu yenteni lento iyenteke futhi labafowethu bengalali kuphela bashiye ku-right sisale singanabantu. Siyajabula uma ngabe uthathe leyo initiative yokuthi uvuse leli qembu mnaka siyakwati nguwe livi leli mnanzi. Jayeni futhi sibuyele sijayive. Danke.
Hola, hola, hola. Hayi siyabonga mnakethu. Asiye emuva siya phambili. Yebo, tindzaba tisho njalo.
I'm going to bring in some of our listeners. You see, now Sam, you're under pressure to start sounding excited because one of our listeners says,
Phela
you,
fanele ngibehave mangilana.
Bonakele, you're in Cape Town. Good morning.
Oh, Kathy, a very good morning and good morning to your guests. Whew, what a group, Stimela. I'm amongst those who enjoyed their music. So I'm actually surprised to hear that Stimela is 45 years old. That means when they started this group, Bonakele, who's speaking right now, was only 15 years of age. Can you believe it? He was only 15
So,
years.
so
So
Bonakele, you've grown up with their music.
with them. And actually, I was laughing because I used to play them, when I used to stay in Davidson in the 80s, driving down to the Eastern Cape, but I'm in Cape Town right now for the past 30 years. But I was in Joburg almost in the early 80s. I used to meet Ray. We used to drive, because he used to stay in Davidson then.
Davidson, yeah.
Was driving a yellow Mercedes Benz, if I'm not mistaken. You understand? They will correct me. So I know for a fact, with us, like I mentioned my age, I want to ask him, how old was he when he joined this female group? But he want to secretive because it's not like, we are not like ladies or women who are so secretive of their age. For me personally, I'm saying I was 15, so to speak, I'm 6 years. So how old was he when he joined this together?
Sam?
I enjoyed their music. Thank you very much. Have a nice one.
Hayi Bonakele. Wena ufuna skip ama-ID la.
And the reason why there's a disclaimer, Bonakele, is because he doesn't look that old. So I'm also waiting in anticipation for that answer.
I'm in my mid-50s.
In your mid-50s.
Yeah.
So that means 55.
Okay. Thank you.
I mean, it's the English language. Mid-50s
Yeah.
means 55.
When Stimela was formed in 1980, I was 10.
Sure.
I was 10. So here we are 45 years later, and we hope to leave a legacy for those that come after us.
Mike in Middleburg, good morning.
Morning, Cathy. Thanks for taking my call.
And
Cathy,
today I know I've earned 20 brownie points with you, Mike, because you're like, yo, Cathy has my people. This is my sound. This is the things that I like.
absolutely, Cathy. You know, songs like Singa Tindi Machita, Trouble in the Land of the See, what is it?
See the world through the eyes of a child.
Through the eyes of the child. You name them. Fisho Bingolo. The very same classic song, you know, Kingdom. You name them. Cathy is this will you know, not play now co expressing in the music of Timela and so much to inspire us in the trenches as we're fighting the system. You know, much as we honor the late great and all other musicians in we should do the same. Like, so, yeah. Now I know why they are full. The movers were very powerful. You can imagine bringing together this full to be what they are on. And then seeing that and keep up the good work and that you are continuing. And then in the magic. Today, please let your music also come corruption. All the struggle for liberation, all the contributions. It's a pity that we just made mockery. All them shabalazo owenzekile. Of all people. Today, instead of enjoying through we are now looking back with you look at this. So Kamele Matoneli, what those who really we ask from. Like Kamele Matoneli. But thank you, Cathy. I don't want to get more emotional.
All right, Mike, thanks for that. Do you want to respond to that, Sam?
You know, it's interesting what he says that Stimulus music gave them energy in the trenches. In the new album, there's a song called Pamberi Nechimurenga. We have featured Louis Mhlanga. It speaks precisely of what he's talking about. These are the messages that I said earlier. As we go around, people would say, Nituleleni, why are you not saying anything? It is there, my brother, on the new album. Thank you. Thank you.
Uncle Joa, you're in the Free State. Good morning.
Cathy, how are you?
Good, Uncle Joa. Go for it.
Cathy, let me firstly say to Sam, there is one or two things that our musicians today can learn from what was done by Stella, and in particular Raymond Kapatiri. That when he saw the talent, he knew that one day he'll be rescued, and he nurtured that talent so that the name of Stimela cannot go into the grave, but the name of Stimela must continue forever. So I think that is the first thing that we, the young generations, must learn. And I'm challenging him to say, Brasem, when you are going to perform on shows, we want to see those young ones that will come and, say one or two songs before the Stimela performs, so that they can be prepared for the future. Because the name of Stimela is not supposed to die. The name of Stimela is supposed to remain forever. Mike has said it mouthful in terms of the message that we got through the Stimela. They were not just, singing for the sake of singing, but there were lots of messages we were that were to uplift. Something that I hear when I listen to this song, I must say I was a bit emotional because I was thinking that, hey, what kind of like this one that is coming now? But when I listen, especially for the lead that was in this song and the lyrics in general, I could hear similar 100%.
Thank you
The
so
last
much.
point, Casey, that I want to raise is that you asked him about who is the leader of Simela now. I take it that Simela is a name of the company. And this name of company, there are shareholders responsible for Simela. I think you asked Katie was very sentiment. Those are the issues that they need to address today because music it's work today. Music is a form of creating work. And we are going to hear about Stimela, about this golden voice of his. Is the more people are going to be attracted from Stimela again, it's the more that the name Stimela is going to make a lot of money.
Okay.
And once a lot of money is there, the problems are going to start coming in.
Okay.
He didn't answer you correctly in terms of who are the leaders Stimela, but I think that is the very important thing that needs to be addressed. Then, thank you very much, Prasen. You know, when I was listening, I could hear Raymond Thierry voice, and you reminded me of the late Kotsula. The voice, and the similar that you are having is the same similar he had many months ago.
Uncle
God bless
Joa,
you as you continue on the journey.
let's leave it there. Thank you so much for that contribution. So, Sam, a mouthful has been said from our listeners. Let's talk about your new project
Yeah.
and what people can expect coming up as we get ready to wrap up the show.
Louis Mhlanga is joining us this evening. We're launching the album. The album is out on all digital platforms. There's a song that we did with Unatinkai, a beautiful collaboration ballad. Um, exciting. DJ Cleo is joining us for the performance tonight. I'm sharing that for the first
Tell us
time.
what is happening tonight. Where is it happening?
We're
How can we
launching
be part of
the
it?
album. We're launching the album right M1 Studios.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
this evening at 7.
Wow.
DJ Cleo is joining us on one of the songs. Did you know that he can play bass guitar?
No, I didn't.
I'm telling you now. So
Sure.
it's gonna be something else.
We look forward. We look forward to seeing
Yeah,
everything else that you will do. And congratulations on this new project and just on being able to keep the name alive
thank you.
as you have been doing.
Thank you. It's a heavy responsibility, but we appreciate the positive feedback. We appreciate you keeping us, out there, people knowing that Stimela is still here. And no, I'm not being, overly emotional. It's just that sometimes it gets heavy, but thank you.
This is Sam Ndlovu, the lead vocalist of Stimela, and as you're hearing, they'll be launching their new project tonight right here at the SABC M1 Studios. I think RSVPs for that are already done. If you weren't invited, then unfortunately they might not let you in if you just rock up. It brings us to the end of the Friday wind down for today. One of our listeners was talking about one of the songs of Stimela that he in particular likes. And I want us maybe to leave, close out with it, which is See the World Through the Eyes of a Child. It's been a pleasure being with you on air as always throughout the week. We'll be back with you again Monday between 9 and midday. Have a good weekend. Take care of yourselves. And of course, stay tuned to SFM for all your latest news and current affairs.
Don't hit no more. I'm feeling into the night. This broken heart. 1, 2, 3. Write a letter to yourself. Baby,
face when I feel your love. Won't you please take the time far away? There's too much love going around. Please face child. Won't you please take the time by the hand?
Clientele is here to safeguard you and your family with compassion because life happens. Be part of a family that truly cares. Our funeral dignity plans have helped South Africans bury their loved ones with dignity for more than 30 years. Let us help you create a meaningful tribute that honors your life and those of your loved ones. We pay out within 24 hours and you will get double accident cover with a clientele funeral plan. Our plans are affordable. Pick the option that suits your needs. Easy to apply, no medical examinations, and no paperwork. SMS SAFM to 48031. That's 48031. Clientele Life is an authorized FSP and licensed life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
There's never a dull moment when two giants meet. Reigning champions Masandawana want to remain on the summit. However, Amapagania chase 3 points to breathe closer to the top spot. This is the Betway Premiership. Isekazini forever. Catch Mamelodi Sundowns versus Orlando Pirates this Saturday, 1 November at 2:30 p.m. Live on SABC Plus and SABC One. Then on SABC radio stations at 3:30 p.m. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport. This summer, the continent unites for the biggest football showdown in Africa. The Total Energies Africa Cup of Nations Morocco 2025 is coming to your screens, live and available on SABC TV channels, SABC Sport, SABC Plus, and across your favorite SABC radio stations. Catch all 52 thrilling matches, stand behind Bafana Bafana, and experience every goal, every cheer, and every victory from 21 December 2025 to 18 January 2026. SABC Sport brings you all the AFCON 2025 action, live and free, because it's game on everywhere.
For the love of the game.
Extraordinary is built on innovation, and Vodacom Business is leading the way. Cloud that scales with your business. Security that earns trust. AI for smarter, faster decisions. IoT that connects systems and people. And connectivity that bridges every gap. With these technologies working together, Vodacom Business is helping to build a better connected, future-ready South Africa. Visit vodacombusiness.co.za. Together, let's build the extraordinary. Vodacom Business, further together.
Twelve o'clock on Friday, the 31st of October, 2025. A very warm welcome to Updated Noon here on SAFM. Leading the conversation, I'm Sakina Kamwendo. Coming up in the next hour.
We are not coming here accusing anyone of anything without any evidence. We are actually putting names, dates, time frames into what we have. And we're saying we'd like to have this investigated.
National Coloured Congress leader Fadil Adams has laid a criminal complaint against National Police Commissioner General Fani Masemola, and the Socioeconomic Rights Institute of South Africa, SERI, has taken the city of Johannesburg to the High Court over the recent removal of informal traders. And guess who's here coming up in sport?
See, they bring me for the big weekends, and what a weekend it is. Premiership today, there's some movement at the top of the table, the Springboks in action, the women in action. What a weekend. All of that coming up.
John Gericke, he'll be back in the second half of the show. And we always want to hear from you. 41391 is the SMS line number. You can write to us via X at SABC News_radio, or you can send us a WhatsApp voice note on 082-692-3909. Well, all of these stories and more coming up. But first, here's your latest headlines with Ondelambana.
Thank you, Sakina. On the top stories, a criminal complaint laid against Commissioner Masamula and Johannesburg traders march against their removal from trading. For SFM News, I'm Ondalambana, and a very good day. National Coloured Congress MP Fadil Adams has laid a criminal complaint against National Police Commissioner Fani Masemula at the Cape Town Central Police Station. Adams accuses Masemula of nepotism. He has also raised concern with Acting Deputy National Police Commissioner Tibelo Musiki